Honorable Adjudicator, as the government side, our team agrees to the motion. This House believes that childhood years are the best years of life. Firstly, because childhoods are more safer since kids are under their parents' protection, and kids have more free. Kids have more rights to run around and play the games that adults refuse to play when they become older. We disagree with the counterfactual, which is this House believes that childhood years are not the best years of life, mostly because in adulthood there's a lot of mistakes. Since adults are not under their parents' protection, I'll explain this more in my argument. Now I would like to move on to some key terms. Childhood defines the meaning of years before adulthood when they are still their parents' responsibility, usually until the age 18, and adulthood defines the meaning of the years after childhood, such as after 18 years old and until they pass away. In our world, we emphasize safety and the right things to do for long-term effects, and childlike happiness for short-term effects. Now I would like to move on to our team's first argument. Adulthood contains mistakes. Judge. Children are their parents' responsibility, like I explained in my introduction. So parents protect them by monitoring to make sure they do not make unright decisions and dangerous decisions such as smoking, bullying on media, and many other things that keeps children safe from making wrong choices. However, adulthood does not have the safety monitoring and benefits because they are no longer their parents' responsibility, and parents are not required to look after their kids now. The opposition may argue that adulthood can do much more things and has much more freedom and rights. However, some adults use that responsibility to do harmful things to their society. And the might reply that the adults have been educated when they were children. However, that doesn't matter right now because despite the education, there are some good adults. However, there are still crimes and drug addiction that led to adults choosing what they want to do since parents are not there to guide them to choose the right choice. Also, children are also given second chances easily when they make mistakes. However, adults are considered to have already fully developed, so they do not get second chances when they commit either crimes or big mistakes. So we can say that childhood is more beneficial because children have the opportunity to learn and forgive themselves. Now I would like to move on to our team's second argument. Children have more freedom to play and run around. Children, Judge, you may have noticed that some adults do not run around crazy, play dress-up, and hopscotch, which are one of the games that children enjoy to play. Why? Well, this is because some adults feel embarrassed that these games are not right for their age, and they feel like they have to do more mature things since they're adults, such as having jobs, hanging out at cafes, and paying taxes that actually contribute to the government and the world they're living in. However, these fun things, they bring happiness. They bring happiness to people who ever do that. And because adults are refusing to do this due to embarrassment and growth, then children have more happiness when they are young, and they have more active and livelihood lives. And due to all these reasons above, government should take the debate home, and I'm more than proud to propose.
Many rules and support is so boring, but parents will have wonderful kids and freely rule. We can also develop our new hobby and is able to reflect. Also, child will make you remember the beauty of your best life in even childhood. Move to my setup. Parents make life develop and show beauty of your life. Parents remain the time that get child. Opposition allow the development and make able to reflect. Our team's core value is reflect. Kids also make to reflect by their attention and change your bad hobby to healthy life. We believe that most developing part should be the winner of today's debate. Move to my rebuttal. Parents can't rebuttal to government's first speaker, parents can't watch everything at once, even internet. And also, they don't have free. Also, kids doesn't have many freedom. Move to my principal argument. Parenthood have happiness, even grandparenthood. Moving to first layer, parenthood we can reflect many things, but in childhood there are such a boring rules and tired thing to do. However, parents will have happiness of looking growing children and feel proud. Also, grandparents don't need to worry, but government gave money to grandparents. They also have fun to look grandchild and adults of their child. Moving to second layer, government is harming the reflect of life. For example, mom's hobby is skydiving and many extreme sports, but kids make extreme thing to stop because mom can think it might die. It can harm her child. So parents can reflect of this, but childhood can just reflect by school. Moving to my third layer, our team stakeholder is parents. Parents can remember beauty of their life and give happiness and proud, but kid can feel that. Move to my practical argument. Parents will have opportunity to fix mistake. Parents have own hobby that is bad and lots of mistake. However, kids can make the life difference. Parents make change of the mistake they make. Kids' best action will change parents even better way. Moving to my second layer, judge life purpose is most wonderful thing, and when that will develop, it's parenthood. Parenthood show exact same action of childhood will make opportunity of fixing mistake. Moving to my third layer, I will give you some ideas. When dad always see TV and always eat junk food, but child say let's go to beach or camping, etc. That's life will change to healthy and more developed life. To conclude my speech, judge government has the burden to the child is the best life of the uh best time of life. What world is better, developing or ruling life? When you want developing world, you should vote for a position I'm proud to oppose.
The arguments and claims the opposition told you today are all relied on the fact that adulthood simply gives you more freedom and you can reflect on adulthood. But we think that this is so vague because, like our first speaker already said to you, adulthood has more responsibilities to take care of than freedom. However, the main question we want to ask the opposition and you judge is if childhood wasn't the best years of life, why do adults want to go back to their younger generations? This is a question that cannot be simply answered with opposition's reliance on the claim that adults have more freedom and they can reflect on many things. Two things you can expect from my speech today: rebuttals in our last argument, which will be about answering the question that we asked from our point of view. But before we begin, the main rebuttal and comparison I want to make with the opposing team is that they think that adulthood can offer you the freedom of choice, but rather we think that this freedom of choice is not used frequently. We think that when you become an adult, you have much more responsibilities. For example, paying taxes, caring for your minor child if you even have one, going to your jobs, earning money or whatnot. Comparing this to child responsibilities. Minors only need to go to school, do homework, and go to academies or whatnot. These small things have no match for the huge responsibilities that adulthood has to take it. So proud to propose. Now moving on to the rebuttals. They say that adults can reflect on the memories they made when they were a child. But judge, childhood can also reflect on the memories. I think opposition thinks that when we say childhood, we mean 1-year-olds who don't know how to walk or think or who don't know how to walk, think, or think or use their brain correctly. However, when we say childhood, we mean children who are under 18 who are not yet fully developed and mature, and children can also reflect on their past memories. Second, they say that kids don't have freedom and parents have more and adults have more freedom than kids. However, we think that even though parents have more freedom and they have the freedom to choose what they want to do, adults have more responsibilities of paying taxes, caring for a child, going to jobs, earning money, like I said. Now they say again that adults can reflect on their past memories they made with different people they know. However, like we already said, children can also reflect on the memories that they made. It's not like they remember nothing. They have brains. They remember their memories. They reflect on them too. So it's not only that adults can reflect on their memories, anyone can reflect on their memories at this point. So all of their layers that they presented to you are not standing in this debate at all. Moving on to our last argument. We answer the question, why do adults want to go back to their childhood time if they already have freedom of choice? This is because they know that childhood was the best time of life. They had less responsibilities back then. And even if Teen Op says that adults can still get the freedom to make their choices and childhood has responsibilities too, like we said multiple times, bigger responsibilities all go to the adult, and adults are lazy to take these responsibilities, and that is why they want to go back to the childhood time. See, even adults agree that childhood time was the best time of their life, and I think these responsibilities are so bad that this is the reason why most adults want to go back to the younger generations. We think that adults not only have more freedom but make more mistakes because of their freedom. But even though they have this freedom, there are more responsibilities they have to take. And childhood is rather more free. So therefore, we think that we clearly won. All of the claims that Team Up represented to you are not standing in this debate, and we clearly take the debate home. Thank you.
Everyone has the thing that they want to do. However, children is losing their time from study and they can't get freedom, which is doing what they want. Because they are young, because they are children. However, others, especially grandparents, can decide what they want. They can be freedom even for their kids' work money. Our pragmatic argument is when we become grandparents, we can get the most golden time, most free time. For our first layer, grandparents are escape from caring their children. Grandparents are free from work economy. They can just live peacefully with sometimes travel, sometimes see their child or grandchild to grandchild. What are affecting their life? Okay, we can think about the weakness and disease. However, kids can enoughly get disease. Adults can enoughly become weakness. For example of the peaceful life, sewing their own clothes, who to their children and grandchildren sometimes meet their friends, etc. For our second layer, but in the childhood, they are having hardship with friendship, study, school. So they don't have any time to reject it. For example, especially in South Korea, the children are busy with study and they don't have many time to play. But can we say is that freedom? Can we say is that happy? We say no. Moving on to my third layer, our stakeholder is adulthood. Judge, think about the children's best case. What do you think is their best case? Maybe getting some present from their parents. Adulthood's best case is maybe when their children do great job on study. However, can be all changed by others' choice, depending on others. They can't actually get real happiness from themselves. They didn't get freedom. They didn't get freedom. However, in the adulthood, they can get some happiness from hobby like cooking, reading books, listen to the music, etc. Because they have more time, more freedom. Different with childhood is rejected. Moreover, adulthood can go back to childhood because they are having child, so the ability of parents are going back to childhood. That's why they are having childhood. For the rebuttal, leader of the opposition said adults can fix their problem like crime, but in the adulthood, we can solve all of it. To conclude, Judge, which is more happy life? The life that can satisfy from others or the life that can be happy with doing their own hobby and what they want to do. Maybe the word that doing the thing that they want to do is the most happy word and the word that everyone wants, and we are proud to oppose.
panel, if the rule will have to choose in which generation of age would be the best, the answer would be the one and only childhood. Today, while the opposition only relies on the mechanism that adults have more freedom, which is too vague, we do not consent with this belief by the fact that the adulthood was simply been described the opposite about how opposition explained it. The main question today is that if childhood is simply that bad, why are adults complaining that they want to go back to their young generations? Our team proposition stands by the belief that childhood is simply much better than the adulthood since they have more freedom. You could expect two things from my speech today: our team's first clash and our team's second clash. First, our team's first clash is all about how adults already said that their childhood is more better. They complain about the lack of freedom in adulthood. That the childhood has less responsibility. That they have more better health. But the opposite said that the adulthood or grandparents era has the most golden time and freedom. Well, I think we believe that this logic is wrong because when we are old, we have certain disabilities that can occur in this age. Also, but in childhood, you don't have that much disabilities and you can run around and play along. That's literally so much freedom that you can do. While in adults, you have less freedom. Like you have to do mature things, like paying taxes, making money, and going to your jobs. Also, the opposition also said that adulthood, they have more freedom. What is the point of freedom when you cannot do anything that you want and you make mistakes because of your freedom? This is actually not the true meaning of freedom. You make your freedom by not giving any harm to others. That's the true meaning of what true democratic freedom looks like. Now moving on to our team second clash. Our team second clash is all about who has more freedom. Let's see about adults. The opposition says that adults have more freedom because they say simply do anything because no one is here to say no, you can't do that. And they can do anything they want. But the truth is that they have to do their jobs, they have to pay taxes, they have to care of their minors if they have one, and they have to make money. They have stress because of all these things. But meanwhile, children, they can play around. And homework, school, academies are much less complex than what adults are doing. And they have much more friends. When you're adult, you can even meet your friends because they're all having jobs and you also have one too. And also, children can also reflect on their memories. The opposition thinks that the childhood we say is a childhood which can do nothing, like literally nothing. You can't walk, you can't see, and you're literally starting to feel the world. But the childhood we're actually talking about is a childhood which you go to school, go to academies, and you do things, and you get scolded. They also say that scolding is kind of stressful, and when you became adults, you don't have to hear scolding, but actually scolding is a part of life. Scolding is a development for life of all creatures. So this is why children has more freedom than adults. But still, they keep relying on the mechanism that the adults have more freedom. But no, because of their freedom, they do many things that are wrong. Then if childhood is seriously that bad, why are every adult complaining that they want to return to their childhood? And if they have freedom, and if they have freedom, why are they making so mistakes? This is the reason. This is the wrong logic they're talking about. And in conclusion, I have shared our team's first and second clash, and for all the season, I am so proud to propose.
Wanting to live as an adult with happiness, with a purpose of life, and able corrections and freedom, or life with no purpose and no chance of better correction, and in a life with correction, life of restrictions. Just I'll say our clashes and then some rebuttals. Moving on to our clashes. For our principal clash, does adulthood have happiness or of big happiness, big purpose of life? Or does childhood bring physical freedom? Yes, childhood brings more physical freedom, but adults have the huge happiness about the purpose to care their child. They they in their childhood don't have an exact purpose in life. They are just saying freedom in physicality brings happiness, even if this case is right. Purpose in life brings the best happiness in life. If their goal is what brings the best happiness, we want the principal ground. Then for a practical clash, adulthood bring chances to correct better than childhood. They have deeper knowledge because they already made their mistakes and corrected them, so they know how to correct their mistakes better. Moving into our pragmatic argument and clash, what brings the most freedom and happiness? We say adulthood and grand adulthood, as we said adulthood has much more freedom of choice because in childhood, although in childhood adults have can make mistakes of to restricting their child, so actually childhood doesn't bring that much freedom, and true and adulthood brings the true happiness of purpose in life. Moving on to our rebuttals, they said that responsibility is a big burden, but responsibility is on purpose in life. Childs don't like working because they don't know the purpose in that. When you know our purpose in adulthood, we feel much more pride. Therefore, the argument of responsibility is wrong. Gyodong said children is more healthy and has more opportunity, but why children can't get some diseases? They can get COVID, they can break their arms. Saying that adulthood brings less safety is wrong. Government is keeping saying only government and elderhood can get some diseases. And government is keep saying that adults are saying that they want to go to their childhood because but they're proud to oppose.
Josh, my job is to explain why we win. Before I will explain firstly do my introduction before I explain. What is most best? George, this debate is about what makes more beauty life, not about the children's shared experience. Moving to my explanation, George, opposition have vast case that firstly make remember. When parents want something but it's fail, but they can make for child. Also, secondly, reflect. Kids doesn't have enough time or experience. How can they reflect? However, adulthood have more long time and more long time to reflect. However, government case have worse case that childhood has less time. Secondly, childhood have less responsibility, less responsibility and opportunity to choose rule or have better choice. Leslie George, I want you to remember golf is ignoring grandparents doesn't have job. Also, childhood is weaker, but adult can be weaker and sick too. Adult doesn't mean it's perfect, but they can fix that and developing while carrying a child and also reflecting again. George, child doesn't have long opportunity to reflect. To conclude, George, government doesn't even answer our burden why childhood is the best. Also, the motion is the best, not the better. I will believe that you will vote for us a opposition, and I'm proud to oppose.
Educator, at the end of the day, we prove to you on why childhood is better than adulthood, mostly because childhood has more freedom to play and have fun, and also that childhood is more safe since they are under the parents' under the parents' protection. To briefly point out our arguments again, our first argument was that adulthood contains mistakes. This is true because adults don't have anyone that's looking after them and point out if they made a serious mistake. And our second argument was about children have more freedom to play and childlike things. This is also true because as I explained, adults find that playing these childhood games that they played in their childhood, they find it embarrassing when they grow up. And also, our DPM explained the last argument. Adults complain that they want to go back to childhood. This is true because I'm pretty sure you have all heard of grandparents saying on how they wish to be young again and how they wish to run around and be free. To point out some mistakes that the other team has made, they said that adults develop hobbies. That adults develop hobbies, and children can also develop hobbies too. They also said that they keep on saying that parents are happy if they have children. Then I want to ask you a question. What about adults that do not have children? Does that mean that they are not happy? This is something that they have to consider again. And adults do want to go back to their childhood, like I explained. And they said that parents can't monitor everything. However, some parents have special things that they use, such as history on what their kids have done on internet, and they also get reports from other people around the society they live in if their child has seen doing something wrong. Judge, you should support the team that gives the effects and evidence of childhood and adulthood, and our team believes that our team gave you the long-term and short-term effects, and we gave you evidence on why childhood is better. And due to all these reasons, we have said government should take the debate home, and I'm more than proud to propose.